Hey guys, it's Austin Goodwin with the Busy Bee Detail. Today we are going to be covering part 2 of how to properly wash your car, which is going to cover actually washing it. Last time we covered how to detail wheels properly. If you don't know how to properly detail your wheels, I would suggest referring back to that video. I won't be covering that in depth at all in this video. You'll just see me quickly doing it. And today we will also throw in there how to wash your engine bay as well. And yeah, so let's get to it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is find a shaded area to wash your vehicle in. I like to use my garage. I don't have any trees outside. If you don't have a garage to work in, you can wash it outside. If A, your car's not dirty, you can use a rinseless wash. Or if B, you wash one section at a time and keep the surface wet. If you wash outside while it's hot and while the sun's beating down on your car, you're going to end up with it drying the soap on your car, and that's going to end up in a lot of streaking, and we don't want that. So try to find a cool shaded place to wash your car in. So the next thing we're going to do is clean out our bucket. I'm not sure that you can see, but there's a bunch of black gunk from the last time I washed in here, and our wash mitts, and this is to remove any dirt or loose leaves or anything that might have got into the bucket or wash mitts, because those things can act as an abrasive to your car, and it's not a uniform abrasive like a compound that would remove scratches. It's actually something that's going to induce scratches to your paint and lessen the finish over time, and that's what we're trying to avoid, and that's why you're hopefully hand washing your car. So we're going to go ahead and, like I said, remove the dirt from here and rinse out these wash mitts to make sure there's no dirt in it. So today we are going to be washing with 3 buckets, one for wheels, one for straight water, and one for soap. This is known as the 2-bucket method, but in reality it's 3. You have the third one for your wheels because you don't want any of that wheel grime coming anywhere near your paint. Like I said earlier, dirt is detrimental to your car's finish. It acts as an abrasive. It's going to scratch it, and this will be filled with dirt and just nasty water. Your bucket filled with soap and water, this is going to be the bucket that you initially pull from and get your wash mitt to be lubricated with soap and water. That's the point of washing your car with soap, is for lubrication. This is going to be the one you initially pull from and wash your car. And once this touches a panel, you're going to dunk it in the water to rinse any dirt that you've picked up from your car. And that's going to hopefully rinse it off and take out any dirt to, again, try to avoid scratching your car. Now we are going to fill this with soap and water, and we are also going to fill the wheel bucket with soap and water just to add some lubrication so we're not scratching the paint, because lubrication helps to lift the grime off your car without scratching your paint. I will be using Meguiar's Hyper Wash as always because it dilutes so economically. And you can just see how sudsy the Hyper Wash is. I mean, we probably have 5 inches of suds in here, so it's nice. Again, it dilutes down so well, and I put barely any Hyper Wash in there. So now we've got our 3 buckets filled: water, soap and wash mitts, and wheel bucket with some soap. So now that the buckets are filled, I generally like to do the engine bay next. You want to make sure the engine's cool, and the first step on doing this, you want to blow out any loose dirt or leaves or anything, especially if you park under a tree. You can use compressed air or a leaf blower, or just use your hands to pull out any leaves and stuff. With older vehicles that don't have these plastic covers on the engine that keep the important components from getting too wet, you might want to cover up things like the alternator or anything with wiring with a trash bag just to be safe. So the first step is to blow off any loose dirt or debris with compressed air or a blow dryer, or not a blow dryer, a leaf blower. And my engine isn't too dirty, and I'm using a Tornador because just my straight air compressor blower is broken, so don't think you need a Tornador to do this. although it is really great. So yeah, let's get to it. So next we're gonna soak the engine and then put on some all-purpose cleaner, and I've got a detailing brush here just to agitate. This is American Detailer Garage all-purpose cleaner, and this is diluted 1 to 4, which is what the suggested ratio is to dilute to. So I got my hose. The name of the game is not to soak this, so just be real light with it. So next we're going to spray on. And then I'm going to spray into my brush too, just to add some lubricity. And you want to wait about 30 seconds, let it do its thing, but my engine bay isn't too nasty. This is the part I'm most worried about up here. So let's get to it, and then you just agitate. And I keep spraying on here a little bit because my engine bay is a little warm still, so I just don't want it to dry up on me. So I'm trying to keep the surface wet with my all-purpose cleaner. Alrighty, now we are going to lightly rinse. Don't use a bunch of water. I like to use this funnel on here with this firehouse nozzle. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to again blow it off with my compressed air just to get all the standing water out of here, and then I'm going to start the engine to burn all the water out of here. And you can see my engine is cool to the touch. It is steaming a bit, but if it's cool to the touch, it's good to clean. Alrighty, now that that's been cleaned and rinsed, you want to go ahead and start the car, and then that heat will evaporate any of the residual water on the engine bay. So it has been about 10 minutes, so the engine bay is dry. I'm going to go ahead and treat it with OptiBond tire gel. This is water-based dressing. It's fine to go on this plastic. I have it diluted 1 to 1, so it's not too shiny. So you're just going to put it on your applicator, and then I like to dot it around on all the plastic parts, and then just rub it in. So now that that's rubbed in, you're going to let that dry. Go ahead and wash the car, and then once it's dry, you want to take a microfiber towel, just a cheap one, and wipe up any residual, just so it's not sticky anymore and you don't have a bunch of dirt sticking to your engine bay. So now we'll go ahead and wash the car. Let's get straight into it. So the first thing I like to do before I start doing the wheels is to pre-soak the car with water, just to let the water soften up the dirt while I do wheels. And if you're in shade, the water should be able to sit on the car until you're done with wheels without it drying up on there. So we're going to rinse the car down from top to bottom. And if the car is real filthy, you may like to consider using an all-purpose cleaner just to pre-treat the surface. I will say when you do that, make sure it's diluted properly, and you will also want to pre-treat the entire panel, because if you don't do the entire panel, you'll end up getting streaks in your paint from it running down parts where it wasn't totally treated. So now I like to do wheels. If you have not seen my video on how to detail wheels, I'd recommend watching that because I'm not going to thoroughly cover it in this. So now you'll want to start the washing process. Here I've got my bucket with my wash mitt and my water and solution. I've got 2 wash mitts in here, one for the top area and the front, and or the top, and the hood and this area up, and then one for rocker panels back in the front bumper. This back part back here is generally the dirtiest part of the car, along with this and this in the front part. So I don't want that, the back gunk, all these dirtier parts gunking up my wash mitt that isn't going to get gunked up from up here. So you want to wash from top to bottom using straight lines. And I typically always use the same, or go the same way around the car. So I'll do this part, windows, don't forget your rear view, front window, and then the hood, and to right here. And then once I do that half, I will go into my bucket of water to rinse in, take it out, and inspect for any kind of leaves or branches that might have been caught up in my wash mitt that could scratch the paint. So I'm going to go over to the other side and finish that up. Straight lines. Okay, and once I finish one of those sections on each half, I'll rinse and then dump back into my soapy water mitt. Now I'll do the door to halfway down. Straight lines, as always. Circles are going to be aggressive and work any dirt into your paint, and that could scratch the paint, or at least increase the chance of scratching the paint. Okay, and again, go into my rinse bucket, rinse out, inspect for any debris, and then go back into my solution. Rinsing, and then I'm done with all the areas I use this mitt for, so I'm going to use my other mitt now. And then I can't stress enough, you don't even want to put any pressure at all, you just want to let the mitt glide. If you put in pressure, you might end up, you're going to rub in dirt a lot harder into the paint, and that's going to result into scratching the paint. So the first thing I like to do with this mitt is the front, because that's going to be the least dirty part of the dirtiest part of the car. And then I'll do the back and then these lower rocker panels. So let's get to it. Okay, so now I'm going to take my second wash mitt and do this part first, because it's going to be the least dirty of the front car, or of the dirtier parts. Straight lines, almost no pressure. Let's get her done, top to bottom still. And it's very important to wash top to bottom so you don't end up picking up the dirtier parts and then of the car and picking up dirt in there and then moving it to the parts where dirt wouldn't be typically. Okay, again, I've already rinsed this mitt, but now I want to hit these lower rocker panels. This is probably the second dirtiest part, and then the trunk and back window is probably the dirtiest. So I'll hit the rocker panels, meet up right here, and then do that on the other side. So then you rinse, and then you go to the other side. Okay, so finally we're gonna rinse, go to our bucket with solution, and then the great thing to do is squeeze a bunch of water out of here just to add some lubrication to the surface. And this is why it's great to have a foam canning, because it does that automatically for you. And then straight lines, top to bottom. And go ahead and rinse one last time in case you need to wash again with this same solution, and throw it back into your solution bucket. And then finally we're going to rinse the car thoroughly. And with this, try to use the water to rinse the car off and dry the car with water. That way you limit the amount of contact you need to make on your paint with the drying towel. So just kind of push with the flow of the water, and that should do it. And then finally, we're gonna use a clean microfiber drying towel. You don't wanna use a chamois. Those actually are hard and will scratch the paint. So just make sure it's clean and go ahead and dry it off. When you get to the lower panels, go ahead and hold the corner so it doesn't dip down to the floor. And try to be as light as possible with this, kind of like the washing. You don't want to apply a bunch of pressure when doing this. Also, water blades are a no-go. They'll scratch the paint as well. So now that the car is completely dry, you're either gonna A, go ahead with a spray wax to protect the rest of your car. My car is ceramic coated, so I'm not gonna go ahead with the spray wax. Or B, you're going to clay bar and wax, and we'll go over that next. And then C, you may apply tire dressing if you feel necessary. Again, as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, comment below and comment what other videos you'd like me to cover. Have a great rest of your day, guys.